Welcome to Daily Tanya. Today is Thursday, the 15th day of Iyar. Let's begin with tzedakah. Gedola, tzedakah, shemekareves es hageula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. So we continue in chapter 48. The Alter Rebbe talks about the two levels of Hashem, the godly energy that comes to sustain the world. There is the light, the energy that is called Memale Kol Almin, that fills the world. This is an individual type of energy that fits to each creature, each individual creature. And then there is the Soiviv Kol Almin, there is the light, that encompassing light of Hashem. And yesterday the Alter Rebbe explained that when we talk about encompassing light, surroundings, encircling light, obviously we're not talking about encircling in physical space. So he gave an example to understand when a person thinks about something. When you think about, you have in your thought, you think about a house. You have the house in your mind. So your mind encircles and encompasses the house that you have in your mind, and encircles every detail of what you have in your mind. So whatever you have in your mind creates this reality of that castle. Obviously, we're not talking about a physical castle in your mind. It's the concept surrounding it. So the same thing, says the Alter Rebbe, is when Hashem knows, and everything, all the entire creation is, so to speak, in Hashem's mind. So there is the higher light that encompasses and encircles the entire creation and is present in every part of creation equally. Except that we cannot perceive this great godly light. And in today's lesson, the Alter Rebbe continues to explain that there's obviously a big difference between human thoughts and God's thoughts. Human thought does not make a reality. God's thinking, so to speak, of the world gives its reality, gives its existence. The very existence of the world is by God knowing it. And therefore, God's knowing the world is knowing with all the details. Every single detail that is in this creation is in Hashem's mind. But this is only in a way, in an encompassing way, meaning it's equally in everywhere. But then we need also the light that comes, a contracted light, the tzimtzum. In order for there to be a world, a limited world, to the limitations of inanimate objects and vegetations, every creature in its own way, for that God contracted this light, and that is the light of the Memale, was contracted to the point that we are able to be limited being the way we are. So let's see inside today's lesson. Says the Alter Rebbe, Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu, T'chsiv be'keloi machshavosai machshaveseichem chulu. God, however, of whom it is written, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, so that it is utterly impossible for us to grasp his thought process. Arei machshavtoi v'daitoi sheyodea kol hanivoim, makefes kol nivra v'nivra, meroishoi ve'ad tachtisoi v'teichoi hakol lepoel mamash. His thought and his mind, which knows all created being, encompasses each and every created thing. From its head, meaning from the highest levels, to its end, meaning to the lowest level. And its inside and very core, all in actual reality. And not as with the thought of mortal man. Mortal man is just an illusion, an imagination. Hashem's thought is the actual reality, is the true reality of the existence. Of this existence is Hashem's thoughts. So the Alter Rebbe now gives an example of God's thought and knowledge encompassing a specific object. So he says, for example, talking about, for example, the globe, the orb of this earth. For For example, in the case of the orb of this earth, הרי ידיוסו יסברך, מקפס כל אויבי כדור הארץ, וכל אשר בתוכו, ותוך תוכו, עד תחתיסו, עקה בפועל ממש. His knowledge encompasses the entire diameter of the globe of the earth, together with all that is in it, and its deepest interior to its lowest depths, all in actual reality. So Hashem's knowing it is that is the actual existence of these creatures. שהרי ידיע זוהי חיוס כל אויבי כדור הארץ כולו וסבוסו מיש לעין. For this knowledge constitutes the vitality of the whole spherical thickness of the earth and its creation ex nihilo. So the whole earth was originally created and continues to be created ex nihilo, something from nothing, as a result of God's knowledge of it. So this is the encompassing light that brings it into creation. And why do we need this individual feeling light for each creature? Because in order for us to be a limited created being the way we are, God needed to contract the light to fit the creation. רק שלא היה מסעווה כמו שבועתו, בעל גבול ותכלס וחייס מאתס מאויד כדי בחינס דיימם וצמח. However, it would not have come into being as it is now, as a finite and limited thing with an exceedingly minute degree of vitality sufficient for the categories of inorganic matter and vegetation, which are the two lower levels of creatures in this world. So that wouldn't have happened unless there was all of these the contractions of the godly light. Imloi al yedei tzimtzumim rabim va'atzumim shetzimtzumu ha'oyer ve'achayus ha'nislabash bekador ha'aretz. Were it not for the world being created through the many powerful contractions which have condensed the light and vitality that is clothed in the orb of the earth, so as to animate it and sustain it in its finite and limited status, and in the categories of inorganic and vegetable matter alone. Thus, the minute degree of illumination which results from the tzimtzumim, from the contractions, enables the earth to exist in a finite manner and only in the finitude of it inorganic and vegetable matter. God's knowledge, however, as shall presently be explained, encircles the earth from above. For since his knowledge is infinite, while the world is finite, it is impossible for this knowledge to pervade the earth, even though this knowledge constitutes the earth's very creation and existence. So this shall be continued the Mitzvah Shem tomorrow as we finish this chapter 48. So we'll see you Be'ezrat Hashem tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.